What if grief could make you do the unthinkable? Because this isn't a haunted house story. It's a grief story wearing a horror mask. Okay, readers, let's slay this book.
Welcome to Book Slayers, where we put dark fiction books on trial and break down whether they committed crimes against their readers or if they get a full acquittal. We are finishing up our horror era. Tonight, we're diving into one of the darkest and most emotionally brutal horror novels ever written. On the surface, it's a story about grief, death, and a burial ground that can bring things back to life, but not the way you would hope. Underneath all the supernatural horror, this book is really about what happened when people refuse to let go. We're talking dead cats. No, we're not. Wait.
That's you know what? If you'd carried on, I wouldn't have even picked that up.
The dark bed. Okay, hang on. We're talking undead cats, childhood trauma, terrible decisions made in grief, and why sometimes dead really is better. Yeah, this book.
This book. Oh my God. I didn't quite know what to expect. I knew, obviously, it's horror. I think Stephen King himself says this is like the worst horror he's ever written. Not worse
Yeah.
as in bad, but like the most scary, like for him. I'm sure there was something I read where he's like left it in a drawer for years because he just didn't think that anyone should read it.
Yeah.
And as it started and like the first 50%, I was invested, but there was parts that I felt like I was like, come on, get to the bit, because I just think it's a slow build, but it's meant to be that way. It's like once you get to the end, I think you appreciate the slow build. But there was points I was like, I know what's going to happen. Just fucking get on with it. But the ending, which we'll come on to, oh my God, I just didn't see it coming. Put it that way.
No. No. For those of you who have not read Pet Sematary, it's basically about Lewis Creed. He moves his family to rural Maine, where they meet their neighbor, Judd, and they find that there's a pet cemetery on their property, an ancient burial ground beyond that, and a force that brings things back from the dead, but not right. And the whole basis of this book is how far would you go to undo your loss? And for me, it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying.
It's a definite mind fuck, especially as a parent. But I think anyone who's even not a parent can see how like devastating and like traumatic it actually all is. And I really wasn't ready for it. But
No.
you've read this book a few times, haven't you?
Yeah, this is probably my third go through. I've read it twice before. But it's funny because like me and Mike were talking about it, and there were things that I hadn't remembered that he had, and there were things that he had forgotten that I had remembered. So the book, I think, hits people on a very different level, and it was really strange. Now, I did a mix of audio and reading, and I
Oh.
found the audiobook to be terrifying. If you know who Michael C. Hall is, he plays Dexter on TV.
Mm.
So he narrates the book.
Oh. Oh, I
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
chilling.
Oh, I
It was
didn't audio
chilling.
it. I did just read all of it. But
Yeah, I did a blend of both. I wanted to see just how good the audiobook was because I've never done that before, and yeah. Can't go wrong with either format.
so how old was you when you first read the book?
Okay, so I started reading Stephen King. Adrian, funnily enough, bought me The Green Mile when I was 15, so that's where it started. I think I read Pet Sematary. I was 19 the first time.
Oh, okay. I wondered if you, because when I've sort of looked back at reviews and what people have written, some people have said they read it when they was like early teenage years and then read it older and found it scary both times, but actually worse being an adult, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm not even joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was terrifying. And it was terrifying in new and different ways because when I was 19, I wasn't a mum. So for me, the only
Mm-hmm.
scary stuff was what was going on with the Wendigo and the yeah, the creature, and it was talking, and I'm like, "Oh my god, why have you not run away yet? Are you crazy, lady? Crazy, go!" But yeah, it was, but this time around it was even worse because I'm looking at my kids and I'm like, I guess my core question is, would you, if you know you've got a cemetery that does these things where it brings people back to life, and even though you know it's not right, would you do it
Yeah.
with your child? Yeah.
I
I was like, I
really
don't care how
I
freaky you
would.
come back.
The love you have for your kids, I just think you would do anything. Like we say we would do anything for our kids, and I would do that.
Yeah.
Which
But that
is, like you say, terrifying.
'cause you don't know how they're coming back. Like that cat, I'm sorry, but that cat weren't right. Like,
No.
I it's funny because my mum, if you remember, she had Puss Puss, right? She had that black cat, and I swear to God, that cat knew I'd read this book and was just like would stare at me, and I'm like, "Oh, go
Stop looking at
away."
I
And
was reading.
I'm still not a fan of cats, and I don't know if that's why.
That put you
Um,
off. Yeah, 'cause we all both our family had cats when we was younger, and I don't remember you not liking cats, to be honest.
I always
I don't
preferred dogs.
Yeah, you always preferred dogs, but you didn't I don't remember you not liking cats. So maybe this
That's
book
what
did affect you more than what you think.
And it was funny because I didn't know that until I realized that. So I'm like, ever since Puss Puss looked at me that day after I read the book, and I'm like, that cat's gonna eat me. And I think that was kind of it. And I don't think it was that. Puss Puss was just a bitch,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
made me this whole book was I think that King was trying to show that even though he had supernatural elements in this book, that the biggest monster that I saw in it was grief and what it can do to you
yeah,
and what it can do to a family. Because I'm not being funny, but I was so mad at the parents for the way they were like, they had another child. They had another child, and it was almost like that child no longer existed in their sphere because all they could
yeah.
see was their grief.
Yeah, and I'm not even gonna do the whole put myself in that situation,
No.
but I think with the book, you gotta remember it was like, what, less than 4 days, or it was like 4 days when he did what he
Mm.
did with the child. So
Yeah.
I think you might need to give a little bit of for that, but then I suppose you've got to also remember you're a parent, you're there for the kid. They've also just lost their brother and is too young
Yeah.
to understand why and what happened and why is that fair, and do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sort of see both sides because I would be this side myself. I would just, yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of how I would
No,
feel. No,
let's not
let's
do
do
that.
that.
But did you not also notice that, like, Lewis is a doctor? He's a very logical man, and even he, knowing it was wrong, did it anyway?
Yeah, and he almost there's
Rationalized it.
yeah, I was gonna say something that's gonna ruin the end of the book, but yeah, he rationalised it, and then when other things happen, he rationalises again that he hasn't done things quick enough, and it'll turn out better again, and like, yeah, I don't yeah. But also there is the question of Judd, who, by the way, when I started reading this book, I kept reading it as Jude, which made me laugh because then I couldn't not say Jude.
Not it's like,
Hey,
pers
Jude.
is
Um,
that's fine.
yeah, so there's the question of obviously he introduces Lewis to this burial ground, and he almost kind of makes him bury the cat there. He doesn't ask this, he doesn't speak to Lewis about it. He just like makes him follow him to bury this cat there.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind what he knows, why did he do that?
But did you not they do explain that. Like, I don't know if you missed it, but they do explain this. The entity, that Wendigo, is
Mm.
forcing him to do it because what's her name? The wife's trying to get home. That entity, that force is making it harder and harder to get home in time to stop it.
Yeah,
Like, the car's like he's like, "I don't know why this battery cable did that because this is a brand new car. That's weird." And I was like, and then she's really tired. She's going to fall asleep driving. And Judd's like, you have to pull over. Judd realizes that he was manipulated into doing these things because it was time. It
yeah.
was
I think
scary. Could you imagine being that, not knowing you're being manipulated, but being able to do nothing about it?
yeah, because isn't there a bit I don't know if this was the film or the books, we've both done the film well, I've done one of the films, you've watched both of
I've
them
done both.
previously. I can't remember if it's the film or the book where he's waiting for Lewis to come back and he's trying not to fall asleep, and he can
Mm,
feel himself falling asleep, and he's sort of telling himself, "I know it's making me do this, and I
yeah,
can't keep myself awake." Yeah, so
you can't
I
keep
did
yourself
see
awake.
that, but yeah. Yeah, it's fucking freaky, innit? Like, forces out of your control and making you do shit and making you pass on this thing through the town so that everybody but, like, is the Wendigo, is that supposed to be, like, one thing? Is it, like, one entity that can control multiple people? Like, because different people this happens to different people or animals, but I don't know if
Yeah.
that's always at different times or whether it can do however many it wants. Do you get what I mean?
I yeah, I got the feeling it could do one person at a time. It didn't feel like it could spread itself out like that, but like Judd explains in there, there's certain points where it gets more powerful. So who the frick knows? It was
Mm.
terrifying. I
How
was
d Oh, go on.
oh, no, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, how did you find book to movie comparison? Either of the movies, but I'm quite interested in the original because I watched the newer one, which is a
Well,
tells the story differently. So,
yeah, well, I actually really enjoyed oh, dog's getting on my lap. I enjoyed the original more. Now,
yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but in the remake, they kill a different kid, right? They kill Ellie
Yeah.
instead, and I didn't like that. Now, I understand why they did that because the idea of killing a toddler on TV was probably not really going to translate well onto screen, but it was a big difference that I really bloody didn't like. Also, the movie moves further away from the supernatural aspects, I found, and it concentrated more on the deterioration of the family and then their mental health and the guilt. There was a lot of guilt in there. And for some reason, they added in Zelda a lot more, and I didn't understand that either. Like, she's a blip on a radar in the book. Why the
Yeah.
fuck is she in the movie?
I think that was probably more for, like, the horror aspect because it was a bit
Yeah.
more a bit more graphic. I didn't mind the change of kids, even though as I was watching the film last night with Lacey, the whole time, all the way through, I was going, "Well, that didn't happen in the book. That didn't happen in the book. That was different in the book." And she was like, "Are you gonna do this the whole time?" And I was like, "Yep." Um, I kind of understood the change, but I thought it might have been more from an acting point of view, it'd be hard to get a 2-year-old to do all the things that you'd wanna get a 2-year-old to do. But that's why I was
Yeah.
in the first movie, like, how did they do that with Gage coming back and do you get what I mean? Like, did
Yeah.
that I take it happened in the first film, so how did they do
Yeah.
that?
Some of these kids are really well trained. Look at Drew Barrymore, for example. She was 3 years old when she was in ET. She was incredible. How the hell did they get her to do stuff?
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my
she was
god.
3 years old when she started act yeah,
Oh, so yeah, so actually thinking about it, they could have got, like, an older kid that was
and
just a
just
bit
said they were yeah, that's what they
yeah.
normally do.
Well, yeah, that was what my explanation was, but yeah, I did at first, I didn't like it, but then I thought she was actually quite creepy, that kid, when she was all, like, sweet, and then when she turned creepy, I was like, "Oh, oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
not
I
gonna
get it."
lie, the actors did a really good job. I don't know if you noticed, like, the dude that plays Judd was, like, ominous and a little terrifying. Did you get that feeling?
Only at the beginning where he approaches a young girl who's on her own, and then the mum yeah, and then the mum comes, and the mum's like, "Yeah, hi, it's my daughter." Do you know what I mean? Like, she didn't know that was he didn't know that was his neighbour, unless he did know, I don't know. But I didn't get I think it was supposed to seem a bit creepy, but no, through it, I didn't get a creepy vibe.
I mean, I guess because you didn't see the original movie and, like, in the book, Judd is, like, almost like a grandfatherly figure, like, he's very
Yeah.
sweet, they become really good friends. Now, in this movie, he comes across as a little bit of a fucking crazed lunatic. He's very, like, unsettling. I don't know, maybe it was just me. I was like,
Yeah, I didn't get that. Although he wasn't exactly what I pictured in the book, but I
yeah,
think just visually, I don't know if I also think there was a lot more in the book, about Judd and Louis's relationship. Do you know? So I think that got more of that grandfather vibe from the book because you saw how much time they spent together. I don't really know that you got that from that movie.
yeah, that's true. You know what? Yeah, that is very true. I agree with you there. It was a really well done movie. Like the actors were brilliant. The cinematic experience was phenomenal. I don't know. It was just I don't know. I felt like it didn't take the book where it was like that creep up horror, and I felt like they kind of went for the shock moments instead
So do
in
you
the
feel
remake.
like the first movie, because I think Stephen King was involved in that first movie, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm pretty sure he was producer on this one as well.
oh, I don't was he? Oh, I didn't know that he was. Oh, okay.
I
I was
think
gonna
he
say,
has
like,
to be.
was the other one I haven't read that he was, but maybe. I don't know if I didn't know if, like, it was
Mm.
more to the tone of what the actual book was, the first movie, which I would like to
Yeah,
see how it compares to the book because he was more involved.
yeah.
I didn't know he was involved in the second one, but yeah.
You know what? I can't actually say that. I know from experience that when they do TV shows and movies of his work, he always gets producer credits. I'm fairly certain that's in his contract.
I'm Googling.
Yeah, of
I
course
need
you
to
are.
know. The remake of Pet Sematary. It's funny, when I spoke to Lacey or maybe Cara about it, and they was like, "Is that how they spell cemetery in America?" And I was like, "No." It's just
Because the
'cause
kids
kids done
wrote it.
it.
The kid did it.
It's not deep. Stephen King was not directly involved in the production of the 2019 Pet Sematary. While he did not write the script or serve as an executive producer, he did give the filmmakers his blessing and publicly praised the film. And I think that he was okay with the change of characters in it as well, because I think he saw where they was going and why they wanted to
Yeah.
change it. So I think
Yeah.
the blessing, but he wasn't involved in the making of it.
Okay. That makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah.
So now that we've finished with the movie, unless you've got more to say.
No, no, nothing else in the movie.
I guess the biggest thing for me, even just like switching from the movie back to the book, is that the book didn't, the paranormal stuff happened at the end. It was very, like, it was a very small portion of what really happened. It was mostly about the grief and what grief can do to you and the lengths you'll go to as a person to fight the inevitable because you can't bring people back from the dead. I don't care what you say, you can't. But it wasn't, I guess for me, like, you could see that Lewis was fighting with, "Do I do this? Do I not do this?" Because he was fighting with the acceptance of it, and he was like, "Well, if I could lose him, oh, I could do this. If he comes back and he can't do this anymore, that's okay." And I thought it was really clever how they went back to when they thought he was gonna have a diagnosis for, oh god, what was that? They
Oh,
thought
I
that he had with the big
remember.
head. And they thought
Yeah.
because there was a good chance that he was gonna be disabled. And he was like, "Well, we wouldn't have got rid of him then." And I'm like, "That's not the same thing, buddy. You bring it back a fucking zombie. That's not the same thing. A disabled child, and you're likening it to a fucking zombie?"
I know. I guess the hope's there, though. I suppose when the cat come back, Church, he could tell he was different, a little bit more aggressive, and he could tell there was something different about him. But I guess because the cat can't speak or verbalize, or I don't know, there's only so much that he could tell. Maybe the hope was so much more that, but maybe he'll be mostly okay. It must be where you're going. But like we said, I'd do it anyway.
You know what? I it's a hard one, okay? Because I understand as somebody who reads a lot of horror that these things never go well. And what if you bring this one kid back, okay? And it turns into this crazed lunatic and eats all your other kids.
Oh yeah, I haven't considered my other child.
No, you're like bringing this creature, this, and they get violent. Like the cat is obviously a little unhinged. What are you really doing? What are you doing? And even like the truck driver, right? Like it was he suddenly as he got to town wanted to speed really badly. Like again,
Yeah.
that was because that creature wanted somebody dead.
Can I just say now that you've had a break, I've just screenshotted because if you look on the side, my name's Betty and your name's Binny.
I know. I was already laughing about that. I said it. I took a thing to Mike, and I'm like, "Look," he's like, "Are you laughing to warm up?" I'm like, "No, I wrote Binny."
Betty and Binny.
Betty and Binny. He's like, "Yeah, you need somebody to quality control you." I'm like, "I've been saying this for months." Oh dear. Yeah, but yeah, I did notice that. Oh my god, she moved my notes. Go away. Cute
Right,
anymore.
getting back, um, I've got a question about there was a lot of phrases that were repeated in the
Okay.
book. So we've got like sometimes dead is better. There's the whole one where it starts like, "The soil of a man's heart is stonier." I had to, like, Google some of this because I was like, "I don't really understand what it means." Did you get the meaning of it when you was reading it?
Nah.
No, I didn't. I had to Google it, and I can't even remember now. I think it's just something about maybe it's a bit harder for men. I don't know, maybe emotionally, but then when they have something and they love it, they protect it with everything. I think that was
Yeah.
sort of vibe, but it kept repeating it, and after a while, I was like, "You're annoying me a little bit."
Yeah. But I don't know whether or not it was because these are things Jed was saying, right? Judd was not Jed.
Judge, Jed,
Fuck's
Jude.
sake. But those were the things Judd was saying, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was I don't know if you've heard of the psychology of a human being, but we need to hear something 5 times before we accept it as reality. And I think that was him trying to fight through what the Wendigo was doing to him because I think he knew that he was doing things that were setting stuff in motion. And he was trying to make Lewis understand without being
Yeah.
able to say it. It was a creepy fucking book, okay? Like you, the first part of it was like it was build up. I'm like, I don't get why I need to fucking know this. And I know it's like I was reading it and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna skip to audio right now because I think this is irrelevant. And I did. I went to audio for a while and I'm like, okay, I think it's setting me up for something. And if I don't have this, I'm not gonna get it. And
Mm.
I was right. Everything was relevant. I wouldn't have cut a thing out of that book. Not one
No,
lick.
looking back, that's exactly how I felt. So if I was gonna recommend this book to someone, I
Mhm.
would be like, it wasn't that the whole thing was slow, but maybe get heading towards 50%, maybe that 20% before I was just like, "Why is this going on?" And it does get a bit too explainy about stuff, like,
Yeah.
the whole thing where he goes to dig up his son, which is after the 50%, I think, but that whole bit went on so long, I was like, "I know what's gonna happen, just get to that bit. I wanna know what happens when he comes back." I don't need this very long I was reading it and I don't even think I was taking it in apart from while we're still in that scene. That's the only sort of thing that annoys me about this book, but I don't like like when you start a book and it over explains the scenery to the point of
Yeah.
like I've had 4 pages of scenery. It started feeling a little bit like that. It felt a little
But
bit
that
over.
yeah, but that's a Stephen King thing. Like there's a running joke that Stephen King can take several pages to explain the color of an apple.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
that's
see that.
but do you know why he does that? Not everybody can see pictures in their heads. Like that's that there is a lot of the population that when they're reading don't visualize what they're seeing. And he writes so that you know exactly what it is without being able to see it in your head.
I also feel like say that scene particularly where he's going to the graveyard, he's got to dig his son up, then he's got to get his son out and all the tools and get over this ridiculous like fencing or gate or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was building up a lot of suspense. Even though I was like, hurry up, I was like, come on, because I just need to. So I do think it's a suspense thing as well in some of them scenarios. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's always a bad thing. It was just infuriating to me at the time because I wanted to know what the kid was going to do when he come back.
Yeah, but I guess for me, it was the build up was it was working its way. Is she gonna get back in time? Rachel gonna get back in time to stop him? Like, 'cause that's where it was like she's rushing to get there. It's taking
Mm,
him ages. And I'm like, how close is
yeah,
this gonna get? And I'm like,
yeah.
fuck, we're gonna literally see like the kid coming out the ground. Like, what's going on? But I really enjoyed that. But I also know what Stephen King's like, and I know he's a wordy fuck. You only have to look at it. 1,200 pages of kids on bikes
Isn't
fighting
there
the
like
clown.
so I haven't read Stephen King before, but I was Googling after. I don't think I particularly picked anything up because I haven't read any, but wasn't there some like I don't know if they're Easter eggs, but like there's references to other books in there, like Cujo, I think the dog gets referenced, and there was a reference to another book. Or people was asking if the daughter had the shine, and I didn't know what that meant. I had to Google that, but that's from The Shining, isn't it? And is that because of her premonitions or something?
Yeah,
So it was like he places bits in books that don't really they're not relevant to the story. Like it doesn't matter if you don't get it, but if you do
yeah,
get it, it makes you go, oh, and then it reminds you of one of his other books.
yeah. That's
I mean,
exactly
wait,
what he does.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I
So
like that in the book.
Yeah, well, you're gonna if you continue with his a lot of his older books, you're gonna find a lot of that. Because I said to Mike, like I was still reading, and I'm like, I was half expecting the baddie to be Randall, and he's like, no, but it's not. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's not, but I was like, I was expecting it, and I know you don't understand what I'm saying, but he's
No.
like the big bad in a lot of other books, but in different formats. So, yeah, I'm like, I was half expecting it to be like, "Ooh, it's Randall," but yeah, it wasn't.
No. I think I also read as well that this book was a bit inspired by stuff that he was going through when he wrote the book. Have you read this?
Yeah, he draws a lot from his life, like, a lot of things that are going on. He
So I think
was
oh,
I was
there you
gonna
go.
say he was an alcoholic, he was a severe drug addict. There was stuff going on. He got hit by a car. I don't know if you
Yeah,
wrote that when yeah, he got hit
um,
by a car.
I think I read that they had lost a family cat and
Mhm.
his son had had a near road accident. But
Yeah.
imagine that as a parent though, like something nearly like really traumatic like could have happened and you could have lost your and it was a 2-year-old from what I've read as
Yep.
well. And then you write a book about it actually happening.
But I
That's
think it's like
crazy.
it is, but I think that that works as, trauma-based therapy as well. I'm gonna
Therapy.
digress just very slightly. I had a lady come on for an interview. She'd written a book because she had immense grief, and her therapist has said, "Write a story, like, push out some of the things that are bothering you and write a story." Her book, she'd never written before, was absolutely stunning
Wow.
because she brought so much of her pain and grief through writing, and she felt better when she was finished. So I actually understand that as
Yeah.
a tool for helping
Yeah,
yourself get through
like
grief.
therapy, even if you just talked it through, like what was the worst that could have happened?
Yeah.
So it is, yeah, I agree. It's like a therapy. I've got a bit of a funny story about this actually, like dead
Go for it.
cats, which
Oh
sounds hilarious,
god!
cats. But I had a friend who got a knock on the door and they was like, I'm really sorry, but we think your cat has passed away and it's up the road. So she was like, oh God. So she's got her cat, put it in like a shoebox or something at home, had to tell her kids, they're all crying their eyes out, like really sad. She's probably waiting for her other half to come home to like help her deal with the cat. All afternoon they're crying. Next minute, her cat walks in.
So whose
It's
freaking
not
cat's in the box?
it's not her dead cat.
So whose
It
cat was it?
I don't know. I think she had to go back.
What did they do with it?
I can't remember the end of that story, but yeah, it wasn't her. But she thought it was her cat, and then her cat come home.
Oh my god. Could you
Imagine that
imagine
though.
that?
You shit yourself, you'd think it had come out of the box, but I think cat was still there. It just wasn't her cat, and she told her kids, and they're all crying.
Oh no.
It's back. Sorry, I had to get that. I just literally remembered that story, and I was like, I must tell that because it's
Oh my
funny.
god, that is pretty funny. That is pretty funny. Okay. So I don't know if you noticed, but King, because when we're talking about that pet cemetery, it's all kids that go up there to bury their dead creatures, right? The kid that set it
Mhm.
up. But you notice how the King seems to weaponize childhood? Because the cemetery is made by kids. Gage is like this innocent little toddler, hasn't even lived yet. And Ellie has to go through the whole thing about death for the very first time.
Mhm.
Why do you think he picked kids as a catalyst for the destruction in this book?
That's a really good question, and I don't have an answer. I haven't. I wasn't reading the book in that vein because it's interesting as well because the path to the pet cemetery. I can't remember if it's on Lewis's land or if it's the path is near there, and they Judd says the kids take care of the path so they can get there, and
Yeah.
it's like, what kids are doing this? Like, yeah, it is strange.
It's really fucking
It
creepy. And it's funny because if it was adults doing this, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, you're a quirky adult. But I'm like, when kids do it, it's extra fucking creepy. I'm not
yeah.
joking. Could you imagine, like, my Serenity's 10. Could you imagine her going, oh, yeah, I'm just going to go up here and clear this pathway so that somebody else can go bury their dead animal in hopes it comes back?
Or, like, I mean, in the movie, they have this whole thing with the kids and the masks, which is not in the book.
Yeah.
So it's like, and one of them I think was actually wheeling a dead dog, but it begs the question, like, if they have nothing to bury, are they just going up there to hang out? Is that where they go to, like
But
so they just
why?
Pet Cemetery? I don't know. Maybe the
That is
Wendigo got
that's what yeah. I was just about to say that. I wonder if it's, like, drawing them there 'cause it's feeding off of them, like, energy-wise. Like,
oh,
what's it
maybe.
ha Ooh. Bleh. Well, it's the same with it, right? It was stealing kids' innocence. It was taking kids into it wasn't stealing adults, right? I guess you don't know. I
I
don't know
guess
why
it's
I'm
maybe
asking that.
scarier when it happens to kids, especially when you read stuff as an adult, because we, like, wanna protect kids and look after kids. Maybe that hits a lot harder,
Yeah.
like, when you read it, I guess. What did you think about, Ellie having all these sort of premonitions and sort of knowing that something was going on? Where did that come from? Because that's not a Wendigo thing. Because that's she so I think her and her mum had flown off again, hadn't they, after Gage
Yeah,
has
to
died,
her parents, yeah.
but she knows something's happening and she's so convincing that her mum flies home. How was she getting these premonitions? And also on that level, the whole Victor thing.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right, do the premonition thing first, and then we'll talk about Victor. How was that a
It
part of the story?
okay, I don't actually know the answer to this, but because I've read other Stephen King novels, I know full well that sometimes there's, like, good versus evil, and there's entities that can do the bad stuff, and there's entities who can do the good stuff, and it makes you wonder if he was foreshadowing, like, he was placing in there because when they I can't remember what book it is. Oh god, I can't remember what book it is now, but they literally all these people die in it. And you got some people that are drawn to, like, the good energy, like, this good thing, and some of them are drawn towards, like, the bad stuff where they go and, like, fight and drink and gamble and stuff like that. So I wonder if maybe she's just one of the precogs. Like, in Firestarter, she can just start fires for no fucking reason. So she
Mm,
may well just have a gift because it crops up a lot in his books. Like
yeah. Don't get me wrong, I buy into all that. I like a bit of like, I don't always like things I know this isn't like fantasy realm, but like
yeah,
you wouldn't normally say that people are psychics unless you do believe in all that. Like there's no evidence is what I mean. So I quite liked the book in that vein of there was this like burial ground and I liked the premonition side of it as well.
yeah.
Like I bought into all of that. I
But do you
liked it.
not think, like, Rachel has all this stuff with her dead sister, right? Like,
Mm.
why did it affect her so bad? Like, I understand that she was in charge of her sibling. Her sibling got meningitis, for fuck's sake. That is not something you can prevent. Like, I am sorry, it's not her fault. Not like she kicked her into a pond and she got polio. Like, and then she's, like, dreaming about her and the Zelda's really, like, weird and gross and it's psychologically terrifying. Now,
Yeah.
where did that come from then? Is she really seeing something? Did she pass that on to her daughter? Or is she
Yeah.
just a twisted nutcase? Like, it's really hard to say. And I love this that King never really answers these questions because I'm like, that seems like a really weird storyline to have in there anyway. Like, oh, she doesn't like death. Well, she lost her sister. That would have been the end of that if that's all it was, right? So
Yeah.
why are these things plaguing her? Why
Yeah.
what
I
was
don't
going
know.
on there?
And I think this is a book, I'm not one for like ambiguous endings or ambiguous things where it doesn't really answer it, but I feel like I don't know whether it's just because I've made my mind up on it but I was okay because I just think it's like your mental stability, like how she dealt with that as a child. Like she was really young, she was left on her own with her, she shouldn't have been. So therefore, and then she had to try and revive her. Like people go through traumatic things, in their lives, and some people it affects them massively, and some people it doesn't. So I was okay with
Yeah.
it being ambiguous because I think it just some of them things just really depend on the person, the situation, and how it all happened.
Yeah, but
So
she was assuming her sister, like, wanted her dead and wanted to hurt her and wanted to do horrible things and like, that seems to me as though she did do something pretty terrible to her fucking sister, and she's got raging guilt.
maybe, but I
Or
think I don't know if it's in the film or if it's in the book. She does say like she sort of wanted her to die because she was just in so much pain, and she had turned like quite nasty and horrible. But because she was in so much pain, which you can imagine if you are at that point, you're a young kid, you can't understand it all. You're not like an adult
right.
where maybe that's where that come from because she was just angry and horrible to everybody. And
Yeah.
maybe I got the brunt of it because. she had to look after her sometimes. Bad parents, by the way, leaving an ill child on her own with an 8-year-old who's supposed to feed her and look after her.
Don't
Like,
even get me started on those fucking parents.
in the film though, the way they did that in the film, I was like, "Fucking hell." But she come down that fucking, what do they call it? Dumbwaiter?
Dumb waiter, yeah.
We don't have them in the UK, do we? Unless they do in hotels. I don't think, I'm
I
not
don't
aware of.
know.
Don't know in
I
hotels,
don't
but in your houses, you know, like
know.
in American houses or maybe in Canada, you some houses have these, don't they?
Yeah.
But but that was quite traumatic the way that happened. So I think that might have explained more why it was traumatic for her because of the visual. But the book wasn't the same. It was just, I think she choked
Yeah.
food or something that she'd just given her. But yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It's just it's strange because then also Lewis is seeing Victor, right? Like so he's seeing like
Mm.
warnings from a dead person. Like what happened there? Why? Like what did that? Because the Wendigo wouldn't be fucking warning him, would it? So there was
No.
something there. There was something there that was actively trying to help. And I don't know if that was giving the premonitions to Ellie because she was more susceptible because she was
Same,
a child.
the same force, the, like you said, the good and evil
Yeah.
thing. Even though there's evil in the world, maybe he was saying there is good and they are constantly trying to
Yeah.
battle. I don't know.
Well,
But
think
yeah.
about the logic here, okay? We don't have 24 hours of sunlight, do we? We have periods of darkness because it's necessary for balance. And you can't have good without evil. So there had to have been an opposing force somewhere because we are
Yeah.
just lowly humans. We can't stand up to this dire straits. So there must have been something. Had to been.
Yeah, 100%. But again, I'm okay with it not completely being explained and us being able to get to that. And sometimes that really pisses me off with books, but it
I
didn't with this.
know.
I literally finished this book and when I first finished it, I was like, "Oh my God, what have I just read and what's just happened?" And I'm glad that I didn't finish it really late at night. But I was also like, even sort of thinking about it in the next couple of days, and I was like, I don't massively have like these huge questions where I'm like, why or what was this? Like, I've got topics to talk about, but I didn't feel like I didn't get everything that I needed from that book.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Because
Yeah.
that's how he writes. He
Mm,
gives you He gives you this story. He leaves enough loose ends that you will have some questions, but he ties up enough that you feel like you you're not there driving yourself crazy. And he does that with all his books. All of the books I've ever read will leave this one like air of mystery, but it's not going to drive you nuts enough that you start going through Reddit threads.
yeah, after books. No,
Yeah,
I do. I think sometimes when you finish a book, you're like, that didn't make sense. That completely didn't explain something. I didn't have that when I was googling Reddit after this. I do this sometimes because we're going to talk. No, just to see what people are thinking and see if I've missed like a really good
yeah,
question or a really good point. And I didn't find loads of stuff. I found people talking about it, but I found people asking questions, but there was answers that I knew. I was like, oh,
yeah,
I feel like he done it really well in that I wasn't left thinking, I don't understand what happened. Like I
yeah,
get it all and I'm okay with not knowing exactly everything. But is that a bit to do with like, like we think about like spirit world and is there like heaven? Is there hell? We don't
yeah,
know. And although we might want to know, you have to be okay with not knowing because we don't know. And I feel like
yeah,
it's a bit like that. Like
yeah.
it's fine to make up your own judgment on that.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
funny that he manages to do that and you're just okay with that. Whereas there's other books where you're like, I want to kill somebody. Like, what was that?
Fucking Marcus Dubry is
Clue.
top of
Yeah.
my
Sure.
list.
I
Marcus
know you
Clue, he really
I
annoys
like it
me.
though. I like it though. But if you read more of King's books, you're gonna see common threads and themes where you'll start to get a better understanding of the world he's created. Like
Mm,
it's supposed to be like this alien entity that's like it wakes up every so many years to eat and it eats kids. You know what I mean? And then you've
yeah.
got like Randall Flagg, and then you've got like, yeah, I won't go into like everything, but
I
yeah,
was gonna say
there's
Heaton
like,
Randall, I've got no clue who that is.
oh, you if you continue down this path, you will. But even Firestarter, like this kid wakes up and she's got paranormal, she can set fire to things. Carrie, for example, she suddenly gets telekinesis and kills everybody at the prom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that yeah, he has a common theme here, and no one questions, well, where the fuck did these powers come from? Did they?
No, mentioning I remember that I watched Carrie when I was, like, a young teenager, but I can't
Yeah,
remember what happened apart from she got her period. That's it. That's all my memories does
that's
from
a
that.
weird
That's
that's a
it.
weird thing to remember.
No, because she thinks she's dying, doesn't she? Because
Yeah,
she doesn't know. That's the only bit. I have no idea what else. Oh, and she sets fire to something.
no,
The gym? No? There is a fire though, right?
no. Yeah, but I
There
don't. I think that just happens as a consequence of her, like, she massacres everybody.
Oh,
She's got
okay.
power.
But
That's
there is
what I mean.
a fire. I remember that.
So it's, but it for me, I guess I didn't really think about the premonition stuff because I'm like, yeah, there's characters throughout his books that already have these powers. Into like, I'm gonna go right on a tangent. The Institute, for example, the
Mm.
place collects kids with these kinds of abilities. Like, that's
Ooh,
what they do. They bring them in. Yeah, it's, the TV show was phenomenal from the book too. But I guess for me, it was like, well, this is just part of Stephen King's world, so I didn't question it. But I guess for you, this is your first introduction. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, I guess it would be a question for you.
Oh, as a first Stephen King, bearing in mind we have got so much stuff lined up that we are planning, so stay tuned for all of that. But yeah, when I can fit some in, I will definitely trying to get ahead with all what we're trying to do, so I get some gaps. I can be like, I need to listen to these. I've downloaded some books today, which are not even thriller. That I'm like, haven't read anything else for a while. So yeah, that would definitely be on my list of things to try and read. 100%. Can I ask you though?
Yeah.
What did you rate this book? Either then, now. What do you rate this? How many stabbies does he get?
I'm pretty sure when I first read it, it was 4. I'm pretty sure the last time I read it was 4. I'm still sitting at a 4. I
Same.
think that there was, but I understand King as an author. He doesn't write fast-paced books. I felt like I needed it in a couple of spots, and I guess the ending I could have done with a little bit more of the flashy supernatural stuff, but it kind of just ended with doom and the acceptance that this was just it was yeah, they'd lost their
Yeah,
son.
I'm the same. So I think pacing wise, definitely wanted it to crack on a bit faster.
Yeah.
I also would have enjoyed a bit more of the undead kid. So it wasn't just an instant no, but do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to see what he would have done apart from just try and murder people. Like, maybe that could have been built a bit slower, that he was
Yeah.
building, I don't know, a bit more about the undead side of it and how they dealt with that, and then he could have turned into a murderer. I don't know. I wanted more of that. It felt like it was building to a point and then it was over a bit too quick. I just wanted
Yeah.
more of the nasty stuff.
Yeah,
What is
I know that yeah, I'm with you, okay, I felt the same way, and it's funny because as I was reading it this time around, I'm like, now Ellie's having these premonitions of, like, bad things that are gonna happen. What I would have enjoyed was her seeing premonitions of her brother, like, covered in dirt, one eyeball's, like, sunken off to the side, like, doing horrible things to his family, and waking up and then kinda, like, side-eyeing her brother. I would have liked that build up. Like, why
Yeah,
is
that
she seeing that? Like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, that would have been epic. Like, to just have a little bit more of the horror aspects. But I really think he was pushing the grief side of things. Like,
yeah.
like he literally, okay, so Lewis buries the kid, comes back undead, and he literally still wants to believe it's his son. Not his son ain't in there anymore. It's a fucking meat sock for evil.
Meat sock? Oh my
I
good
couldn't
lord.
think of a better word. Meat suit, maybe would have been a better one.
What? Meat sock. Oh, many different variations of what that could mean. Right.
Ah, meat suit. It would have been a meat suit for evil. That's the word I was looking for, not sock.
That is funny.
Oh dear. Oh, one of
I've
the
lost my
things I
train
did
of
enjoy.
thought. Oh, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say one of the things I did enjoy was like all the hidden meanings that. Oh, look at me! I look like I'm crying.
I've
So all the.
got something to just add on the endings
Oh,
before you
go
move on.
ahead.
Don't mind.
No, go.
Um, so on the ending, obviously the book did it one way. Obviously in the film, Ellie had died, and then she ends up killing her mum and killing her dad. So now they're all like it, and then you just see them walking back to the 2-year-old kid who's been shut in the car. What did you think of that ending?
It was creepy as fuck.
I
It
quite
was
liked
like,
it.
"Ew."
And in like a really horrid way, I was like, I hope you now kill your child so he can join you. And then it felt like a happier ending.
All dead together.
All together.
Well, well, even if they didn't get to the kid in the car, the kid still would die. How's it going to take care of itself? It can't get out of the car without dying. It can't drive off.
Judd's dead.
Judd's dead. Like, you know what? It probably would have been the better ending is if they killed the kid, because otherwise that kid's just going to suffer for days with no water.
Yeah, I think the gist is though they've all walked back, and I feel like they're obviously going to get the kids, but it was like family was reunited at the end, and it gave it a slight happy ending to me. And I don't know if I'm just really messed up
You are.
or if that's what they wanted, because obviously it's a horror. It should be a horrible ending, but it kind of, I have weird thoughts.
You really
Anyway,
do. I'm starting to get worried.
yeah, I would. You was gonna, you was gonna move on. What was she
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say?
no, I was for me, I was because I've read the book before, I wasn't trying to pay so much attention to the story and where it was going. But I was looking for like because I know King loves his symbolism. So it's like he has this road. He talks about it a freaking lot because the truck symbolizes unstoppable death and modern danger, but their threat is ancient. And I thought it was really clever how he took the truck as in something that could happen to any of us on any given day. But
Mhm.
that entity is only where they live. It's like ancient evil, truck. And I'm like, wow, he is so deep. And Mike's like looking at me like, I really don't think it's that deep, Stacey.
I'm kind of with Mike, but you did just make me think. You did just make me think though, because that house was for sale. They was moving to that house because they wanted a better quality of life and he could get a
Yeah.
job and it was like cheaper to live. I guess they would have like he'd have more family time. He wouldn't have to do like mad doctor hours.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why that house was so cheap.
I think
Because
it was
of better quality.
waiting. I think it was waiting for a family. Like, I think that that was the family it accepted in. I
Yeah.
half wonder if the house was empty because whatever.
Doesn't
And
mention people before, does it? That's what I was thinking. Who
no, but no, I think there must have been a family there before. Judd does
Jed,
Judd does
Judd?
mention it that there was a family that there was someone there
Yes,
before,
but you never
but
hear
no
what.
one since. Yeah, but we don't know what happened. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, how do you know that the Wendigo didn't need that paranormal kid to help break through that barrier? So it was like, yes, you can have the house. Like everyone else was like, oh, I ain't living there. It's creepy. But for some reason, it attracted and
Yeah, I
I
was
don't
gonna go down the route of like, is it more of a child thing? But I'm thinking about so in the book there is there's I'm pretty sure it's a grown up child though that gets killed and the dad brings him back. The
yeah.
mum's not around. But I don't actually know how old that kid was or
Wasn't
child of
wait,
someone.
wasn't that the kid that got killed whilst was in the army? It was like a young man.
Maybe, yeah. But could
Yeah.
have been in the army at 16, 17.
Yeah.
So we I don't know if it tells you, but maybe it does lean more towards taking over children because we don't hear about any other people, do we? We only hear about animals that have been brought back. A bull, that was random. That was a very
Yeah.
random thing to the story. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't know what maybe the ball was trying to symbolize something and I missed it. Maybe there was a
Bullshit.
metaphor in there, Jack.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and the dog, the bull, and
parrot. Weren't
a
there a parrot?
child that we was there a parrot?
I could have sworn there was a parrot.
Is that not just buried in the pet cemetery though?
Oh, I
Not
don't know.
actually brought back to life. But yeah, I don't know if it tells you. So the guy who ends up killing his child that he brought back from the dead, I don't know if it tells you how old that kid was, or if it
Yeah.
was a kid, or if he was 25, or if he was 16 or 17.
Yeah.
Maybe the Indigo maybe he likes youngers.
You like the
It's
young'uns?
This is getting
That's
weird.
Jackie, that was crossing a line right there.
It's getting
I
weird.
know,
You
I
might
wonder if it's just kids are easier to manipulate. They're easier to get into the psyche of, to convince of stuff. Like, we're a little jaded as grown-ups, right? But do you not think that the biggest fear in this whole book, if you had to pick, would you wanna take on the Wendigo or the loss of a child? What was scarier?
oh, oh no, oh no, no, Wendigo.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, "Fuck that, I'll take the ghost, thanks. I'll take whatever that creepy fuck is over there for 10." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I think that's how clever Stephen King is, because I think that most parents would feel that way.
Will you do anything for your kid?
Not everybody, not everyone. Okay,
Well, they
I
shouldn't
wonder
have.
if I wonder, like, for example, let's take my mother. If that had been me, would she take on the Wendigo or would she just leave me dead? And honestly,
Oh,
she'd probably
that's
run for a fucking my mum hates creepy shit.
okay. I thought you were saying it as if your mum doesn't love you, and I was
No,
like,
no, no, my mum
"This is
does
it."
not like horror stuff, okay? She'd probably say,
Okay.
"One look at that fucking thing," and run away, and it wouldn't be the, "Oh, my Stacey," it would be, "Fuck that, look at that thing." I get
Does
involved
it
in that.
wait, does it describe what that looks like in the book? I can't remember this. Have I missed
I think it was just like, it was the whole
it?
thing was just
Like, it's
terrifying.
talking in the woods. You just hear stuff and he's like, "It's the loons." That's all I remember. I don't remember
But it takes
seeing
over, like, but it takes over the humans. Like, it was talking
oh,
to
yeah,
Judd about
in
his wife, remember? And it was like, she likes to take it up the butt, and we all laughed at you. Like, she used
oh
to
my
take
god, there was some bits that really shocks me, like when Gage comes back, and I wish I'd written this down, but he says something and it's really fucked up, and I was like, "Jesus."
Yeah! But that's what I mean. It's like, it was creepy. Like, I'm not entirely sure we could handle that. Like,
But
I
that
don't
did
know.
make me laugh a bit, and I don't know if that was the expected reaction, but it just like in a really creepy, like quite
Shock. Yeah.
quite suspense bit, it done a bit of shock that made me laugh a bit.
Yeah.
Because he just swore. I don't know if he was talking to Judd. I was going to call him Jed then. I don't know if he was talking to Judd and was like, "You fucking old man," or I don't know what he said. It was really funny.
It was hilarious. I was dying. Okay, there were spots in there where I could feel, like, the emotions waving over me. Like, I could feel I wanted to cry. And then other times I did laugh. It was funny. Other times I was like, "Did he just fucking say? What?"
I think they did it in the movie with Ellie as well. I'm sure she come out with something and swore, and I was like, "What?"
Oh, he's really good at that. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you a question. What How high do you rate the horror in this book? Like, how horror was it for you?
That's a hard question. I'm trying to compare it to other horror books I've read, which I don't know that I read great horror books. I read good books, but I
Yeah.
don't know if I got that horror feel. I think
Yeah.
this one was definitely better than all the other ones that I'd read so far. Probably just needed more of it.
Yeah.
Less
Okay.
building suspense and more getting to the getting to the dirty shit.
But do you not think that he kind of made it so it felt like this could be your real life, and there's, like, a little
Yeah.
bit of paranormal over here, and that was more terrifying? Because I've read a lot of horror books lately trying to catch up with what we're up to, and he would still this book was written, what, back in the '80s? Still one
Mm.
of the best horror books I ever read.
Yeah, I think you're probably right actually, but is that not also the sign of a good writer? It leaves you wanting more. I wanted a bit more, and maybe that's
Yeah.
not a bad thing. Because if he overloaded it too much, it might have been like, "Come on now," like, when I read that Splatterpunk book, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, come on, it's too much." So, yeah, do you know what? You're probably right. It's probably because as well, it's left me going, "I'm definitely gonna read another Stephen King book."
Okay, which was gonna be my next question. Do you have one picked out?
No, not yet, but
Okay.
it is probably a standout. But I think I'll probably have a Google and see which ones of his rates highest. I liked the one you mentioned earlier about taking all the kids who've got the powers. That sounds good.
The
I haven't had
Institute, brilliant. Brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant book. I really freaking enjoyed that. We watched the show. It was phenomenal. Okay. So, putting up against the horror, like how you felt about the horror, how high do you think the emotional damage was with, like, all the grief stuff?
Oh, fuck. The whole bit where he literally played out word by word that kid getting hit by that truck,
Oh
that
god,
was
yes.
fucking emotionally damaging, like, that fucks me up a bit.
Yeah, I
So,
bet.
yeah, high,
Hi.
high. Because
Okay.
I think, well, and I say this not like I think people would understand anything about children, most normal people, but as when you are a parent, that shit hits fucking hard because even though you don't want to, you imagine how would I feel? Your
Yeah.
brain immediately you don't want to, and your brain does it. So yeah, it's traumatic.
Okay, so what trauma score would you give it then?
Out of 5,
Yeah.
I'd probably go with 4. It was
Yeah.
pretty bad. I
It was
think it
pretty
could
bad.
have been worse. I think it's funny that he kind of I read that he wrote this and then put it away for like a few years, and then he was ending a deal with a publishing company and he had to give him one more book and that's all he had. So so he passed that over and didn't was never actually intending to publish it because he didn't think anyone would read it, and actually probably one of his higher rating books.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the most well-recognized books. It's
Yeah.
it's
Well, I've
definitely
heard
up there for me.
I'm when I was younger and you used to read, I wasn't a massive reader at that point. It was more like primary school going to secondary school, and I was aware of Stephen King, and I was definitely aware of that book. I didn't know everything that happened, obviously, but you're aware of that one, you're aware of it. There's probably another one if you told me more books, but I think you're aware of these things, so
Yeah.
it's yeah, well known.
Oh, yeah. Everyone
Mm.
knows Stephen King, I think. I think it's just one of those things. Okay. So, do you think you would have survived being in that house?
Oh, why are you asking me these questions? No, I think I would have mind you, I say I would have left, but all the creepy shit happened at the end, so that, like, the only weird thing that was happening before then was the cat, and he's the
Yeah.
only one that knew that the cat was undead. Like,
That's
no one
true.
else knew, they just knew that the cat was acting weird. So really, for everyone else, nothing that creepy was going on, and then it was just when the son died, isn't it? And then it all happened too quickly, like, there was only a few days till then he brought the kid back.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't like, if you're asking me if I would survive all that trauma, fuck knows. Do not don't know, don't wanna think about it.
But
Next.
would you have survived the horror stuff? Like,
Oh, the horror
window.
fuck no. Who fucking gets over that? You? Are you surviving that?
Fuck
You
no.
might be
I'd be the first one dead.
I was gonna say you might be more better equipped because you've read so many horror books. You'll see it coming a mile off. You'll be like, "I know exactly what's gonna fucking happen now. I've read it somewhere." That's
We
what I
should
reckon.
all leave. We should
You'll
all
know.
leave.
We'll survive because 'cause you'll know when we should run away. So
Yeah, but
I'm
I could be
sticking
saying that for no reason. I could be seeing zebras where there's horses. Not necessarily the best person to put in charge here.
I don't wanna think about living in this life. I wanna sit here with my wine and everything's happy. I'll cut the
Fair
girls
enough.
like, "I want a horror book that's gonna really get to me," and now I'm like, "But just don't place me as a real person inside that horror.
But that's the
Let's
whole
just
point of deep
look."
diving.
Yeah, I know, but it scares me.
I love it. Pet Sematary isn't about the dead coming back. It's about what the living become when they cannot let go.
Mic drop.
Yeah. I was getting all philosophical
Insightful.
and shit.
Love it.
Slayers, if you have enjoyed today's episode, hit us up in the comments and tell us what your favorite Stephen King book is and whether or not you'd like to see us deep dive it sometime in the future. You should definitely be following us, commenting, liking, sharing this episode, and you should share this episode with anybody that doesn't like cats. Make it worse for them, okay? Seriously, you send that episode right on over and you're going to make them really creeped out. And then you can tell them that we have better episodes. We're not just talking about big cats. Seriously, though, seriously. Send this episode out, get us some likes, get us some shares, and hopefully you will be joining us next week when we come back with, I can't remember. We'll be back next week with our mini pod where we are going to be going back to our thriller roots for a little bit. One of the books we're going to be highlighting is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I'm actually already halfway through it.
It is a long book, I'm just gonna
It's a
say that.
long book.
We keep picking
So you
very
do
long ones. We need to stop doing that.
yes, yes, we do.
The
We
last 3 are massive.
well, yeah. I think this one's bigger though. Like,
It is
Girl with the
big
Dragon
as
Tattoo. Yeah, it's a big one. We hope you're gonna join us for that episode, and if you have any questions and you wanna reach out, you should definitely be hitting us in the DMs. We hope that you have the reading week that you deserve, readers, and we will catch you next week. Take care.
See you soon.